Hi, this is Jody Shirami at Astro Podcast. Today is Friday, June 20th, and it is the summer solstice as the sun shifts into Cancer tonight around 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and the moon will be in Taurus, bringing us a reality check as it conjuncts Venus, which is also in his home sign of Taurus. So a lot of this is uh, very good with Cancer. It mingles well with the whole concept of taking care of your home and your family and stability you need, because Taurus is an earth sign. It brings stability and practicality. And then Cancer is a water sign, so it's going to bring us emotional intelligence on how we should move forward with things in our lives. So it's a good time, but Venus in Taurus is going to have a little bit of a square with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, making us feel a little uncomfortable, like what is going on. We're not maybe getting what we want out of today. Maybe things aren't going as the way we want. So it's really not a horrible day, but the sun doesn't enter Cancer until tonight. So while it's at the 29th degree of Gemini, it's also having a little meeting with Uranus, who is in Taurus. So Taurus is very active right now, and as we've spoken about before, the anaretic degree of 29 degrees, where the sun and Uranus are, there could be some information coming out that we didn't really know was happening. There could be secrets being told that come to light that we're wondering about, and how is it going to affect us. So there's a lot of little things going on that could lead to us feeling a little bit uncomfortable. And as the sun shifts into Cancer tonight, by Sunday, it will be squaring Saturn and Neptune from Sunday to the 24th, or between the 22nd and 24th. The sun first will square Saturn, then will square Neptune. And this is where we're dealing with reality with Saturn, and then we're dealing with dreams and our vision for the future with Neptune. And as the sun squares this, we're going to be really trying to figure out in our mind what is going on with ourselves as a Cancer sun. How are our emotions being dealt with, and how are we looking at the future? Is it a delusion? How are we going to support our dreams through the practicality of Saturn in Aries? So this square between everything that moves into Cancer now will be occurring in terms of they're always, and it's Mercury's going to be moving in here too, which I'll talk about in a minute. Another big aspect is that Mars, who's now in Virgo, where it's very uncomfortable because it has to move slowly and can't act on all of its feelings that it wants to have, is going to sextile Jupiter and then quincunx Pluto. And this is going to turn into a yod, the finger of God. And this will rule over the collective. And it's going to be looking for a future where we are working on what we would like to occur. So this is going to be a personal feeling over the whole collective. We'll all be feeling this, how what we want for the future isn't really happening right now. Things are a hot mess, basically, especially for our human rights. And this can cause a lot of problems within ourselves, because Jupiter wants to expand what Mars is doing. But because it is in this alignment with Pluto, the finger of God is really trying to say, over this long term, because Pluto's long term, Jupiter is a 1 year transit per sign, and Mars is a 2 years transit per sign. We have 1 to 2 years that Pluto wants us to look at and say, well, now that we're in the age of air, we have to really be thinking about how we want things to occur and how we're going to use our energy to get what it is we want, with Jupiter's help of visionary luck and helping, especially through Cancer. Jupiter's very powerful here. It's exalted here. So through Cancer, Jupiter is going to be ruled by the moon. So collectively, Jupiter will always be trying to help us wherever the moon is going, to highlight how to help ourselves, how to help the world, how to heal human beings right now. Because as you can see, there's multiple wars occurring, even in our own land of America. So we are here now. The future is here. What we've been talking about is here, and things start to escalate now with Jupiter in Cancer because of that protection that Cancer has for the home, for the family. This can get exacerbated to where it's overprotection, where you want to throw out all the people that have immigrated here, even then been here for years, 20 years, 30 years. They want to take away certain rights of birth in America, where you're born here and you become a citizen. They want to take that away. So there's a lot of things that are occurring right now that is making us uncomfortable. Only a few are happy with what's happening. And so with AI coming and controlling a lot of things, Pluto in Aquarius is also talking about how AI is going to come in and change the world. And we have to be prepared, and we have to monitor how it affects us, because you can already see AI takes up a lot of energy, and so you have to build these centers where it's cooling down in order for AI to exist. And that is also causing a lot of problems for people who live near these big giant centers where AI is being cultivated and nurtured. And again, this is harming the earth, and it's harming us, especially our children, as a lot of children are unable to deal with what's happening on the internet, on Instagram, on TikTok. There's all this comparison. There's also the need to blend in and be a follower, where everyone's starting to look the same, where uniqueness isn't really celebrated anymore. And so with Pluto and Aquarius, this is also going to try to come in and say that what Aquarius, the differences in us, because that's what Aquarius represents, because Uranus rules it. The differences in us is what we're trying to support, and there's a lot of energy there right now with the other side of that, that's resisting this change that Pluto's coming in to Aquarius to change. Doesn't mean that AI with Aquarius ruling over this domain, AI isn't supposed to come in here and destroy us. AI is supposed to come in and help us evolve as humans to survive and learn how to deal with the climate change that we've been producing. And Pluto wants that, and Jupiter wants to help the home, and Mars in Virgo also is ruled by Mercury here. We have to be thinking practically, because Virgo is the earth sign, how to heal the earth and ourselves of this delusion that we're having about AI being so perfect for us and replacing jobs, and then really not supporting human evolution, because we'll be phased out if everything becomes robotic. So this is what the big question of the times are. The future is here. So we have to start thinking about these things, and it starts right now with Cancer season occurring as July 4th nears. So Sunday, after the yod perfects, Gemini moon moves in, and that can help lighten the mood a little bit. Our emotions can be a little bit more detached because it is an air sign. We'll feel more sociable. We can hang around with our family on Sunday, and Sunday night will be great for a little get together if you want to say that. I'm planning on barbecuing on Sunday and hanging out at the pool. And then on Monday, on the 23rd, the sun is going to square Chiron, and this will bring up personal healing. The sun squaring Chiron is going to be bringing up former hurts, probably having to do with maternal energy, issues of childhood, are going to be reliving itself in our minds, and we'll have to learn how to really heal ourselves, because again, healing the inner child has been a theme for the past 10-15 years, and a lot of us have been working through that through various ways. I worked through it on writing and poetry, which one of the books I was publishing is about childhood healing. And it's really a time where if we can't heal our inner selves, we're going to continue to lash out into the world at other people and blame other people for our own hurts. So it's really a great time with Cancer season here to hunker down in your home and relax and really appreciate your home and be grateful for what you have. And being grateful is a big theme with all of this going on in the universe. It can help you feel better and think positively instead of being negative. And then the Sun and Jupiter are going to sextile Mars in Virgo. So with this happening, again, the Sun and Jupiter and Mars, it's another triangle here where our inner child, because of the Chiron thing happening with the Sun in Cancer, the Sun and Jupiter wants to expand and heal and explore also. But in Cancer, it's more of a maternal instinct to stay home and protect. And then with the sextile to Mars, it's a good energy in terms of you can really start to feel this loving energy emanate from yourself. And if you've been healing with Chiron, you'll have a lot of inner love to give to other people. So Monday can be a good day after a little bit of roughness over the weekend. And then we head on to the 24th, and the Cancer Sun will have moved to conjunct Jupiter. And here we have a beautiful day on Tuesday that's going to help us really have a lot of hope and optimism, because Jupiter again is exalted here. So the Sun in Cancer is going to be very happy. And so we can all feel this energy and use it to help us move through these other difficult things that are happening with the finger of God. Because there's 2 yachts this week, the finger of God. So the next one will be occurring tomorrow. And then on the 25th, we have the new Cancer moon, because the moon will be conjuncting the Sun and Jupiter. So now we have a lot of confidence coming off of yesterday when the Sun was conjunct Jupiter, but now the moon also will conjunct the Sun and Jupiter. So we're going to have a new moon. This is a great new moon to plant those seeds, especially for plants. I have some new plants I'm going to plant outside that I got some seeds from Thailand from. I'm going to plant some okra, some dill, and some cucumbers, and some hot Thai chilies. So this is a very expansive, confident day, and it's going to be the seeds of the Virgo Mars that wants us to really be practical and careful in how we move. Because again, Virgo Mars is protective in a way that helps you to slow down Mars, so Mars doesn't use its rashness and its hot-headedness to do something that could cause a World War III, which is what we're thinking about. And that means personally in your own home. That means with your other people that you know, your friends, your family. Try to really not get upset and blow things up, because I know a lot of people can blow up here, and Cancer is why I keep saying that Cancer people a lot of times will get very emotional and just start attacking you personally. And not all of them are like that, but the ones that don't understand who they are can be very spiteful during this time. But the ones that are aware will be having some nice times with their family and doing things with family and not being too overprotective to where their children can't move around and be themselves. And we can see that happening in the world in terms of the collective being a little bit too protective, and the mother being protective, too protective, saying that, aliens or people from other countries come in and they can hurt you and harm you, whereas it's been kind of proven that a lot of immigrants that come in really just want a new beginning, a new life, new freedoms, which is what I came to America for with my parents through the Air Force, was, trying to have a life where there's due process. And that's really what we're talking about, due process and having the ability to do what you want, but not breaking the law, just being able to plant outside. It's not an HOA. You can do what you want with your yard, things like that. Whereas the Cancer people who live here could be upset and saying, well, we don't want you doing that, blah, blah, blah. So these are things we're talking about, being overprotective of the land and also being overprotective of your children, where you don't let them do anything, like go out and watch a movie with their friends or go to their friend's house. So these are things that are mundane affairs that we have to think about as this season starts to really amp up, because July is going to be the most volatile month of this year, where there could be a war starting. Also, there could be some seismic activity, which we're already seeing in the world, with monsoons, all kinds of things. And again, that's Mother Earth being stirred up by all this energy, all this cosmic energy that's coming in from the sun, because the sun's job is to light up what's happening so we can see it clear, so we're not in the dark. The sun brings the light, brings life, and if you get too close to the sun, you'll burn. So the sun has its ups and it also has its downs. It rules over our universe. You have to be careful with this yod occurring in terms of we don't want to plant seeds. And then with Jupiter here, their weeds start to grow, because everything's abundantly growing, even the weeds that may be weeds or may not be weeds, depending on your interpretation of it. And they can overgrow and take over your little seedlings, your plants. So again, that's like a mom being too strict and taking all the joy out of life from their kids. So you don't want to do that. And then on the 26th, Mercury at 29th degree of Cancer, as it prepares to move into Leo, meets up with Uranus at 29 degrees of Taurus. And again, this is that anaretic degree where endings will occur. And so what's going to occur with Mercury leaving Cancer? The speech, the maternal speech, the loving speech, the thoughts of protection, meeting up with Uranus. Things could get very volatile here, because Mercury, that little planet that zips around the sun, is very powerful. It is the only planet that can take you to the underworld and back again. So as it meets up with Uranus and Taurus, seismic activity will most likely begin to really show itself to us. There's going to be a lot of most likely underwater volcanoes, underwater earthquakes, which causes tsunamis. So now we're dealing with things that are unseen. We can't see it because it's in Cancer season, and Cancer is the moon, the darkness. We can't see what's happening because it's underwater, and Cancer is a water sign. And with Jupiter here, all that seismic activity is going to really ramp up, especially at the 29th degree of Uranus in an earth sign of Taurus. And we've been speaking about this a lot. So if you've been listening, you know, and you should have been observing what's going on the planet in terms of seismic activity. There's been many volcanoes that have erupted and now we're thinking that the one in Hawaii is going to erupt soon, because there's a seismic shift down there, over there in the Pacific Rim. And again, the Pacific Rim has a bunch of seismic activity, minor, tiny, 5.5, little earthquakes underwater. And again, if that shifts the tectonic plates at all, it will cause a tsunami like it did in Thailand back then. And there's also been a lot of flooding happening everywhere because, again, Jupiter's in Cancer and we're dealing with water. Also, Aries hosting Neptune and Saturn, there's also that possibility of newness happening in terms of new structures being destroyed or made, a lot of water or a lot of droughts because everything's a little imbalanced right now. So we have a lot of things to think about. Not all of it's negative. You can be positive if you're just prepared. And again, that's what Cancer season can help us with, being more protective of our home, being more protective of our kids, being more protective of what could happen during hurricane season, what could happen during flooding, which is also occurring in West Virginia. It was a horrible flood there. So again, if you remember last year, North Carolina got hit by Hurricane Debbie, and it flooded to where it destroyed so many things, roads, landslides, that it's still recovering. So this is not a joke. It's not like predicting doomsday. It's just more, if you look at the facts and you look at the charts and you see it and you compare it, you can start to say, well, this could be happening. And again, astrology is a map. For me, it's a map. I use it to find my way through my emotions, my family's emotions, so Earth's emotions. And astrology is a great way to look at what is going to occur because of the history of astrology, where you can look at charts from the back end, and you can look at charts in the future. And it's not so much telling the future, it's just guiding you how you can prepare for things that you can't see. And that's what's happening right now. You can't see everything that's happening, right? And then on the 27th, the Leo moon will conjunct Mercury, as Mercury just shifted in there, and then the moon follows. So at this point, with this happening, the moon, the emotional Leo moon, will also want to speak out and stand up for their emotional rights and what it is that we want as a group, as a collective. And as it meets up with Mercury here, Mercury again is going to be very bold being in Leo. With the moon also in Leo, the combination is all Leo. And so with Leo, we're going to really want to be very purposeful in what we're saying, and we're going to say with authority of the royalty, because again, Leo is royalty. And so we're going to speak in such a way that we're going to have this sense of destiny about ourselves, and we're going to say it with our dreams in terms of we're going to expand our dreams through this time, because again, the moon can help us with our dreams because it's our emotional need, what it is we want to do and what we want to say. So this coming week again is very volatile because we're going to be entering July. When I come back next Friday, we're going to be entering July, and then we're going to be dealing with a bunch of little things happening in July, and we'll see next week when I explain it to you that a lot of things that are happening has to do with the collective emotional need in terms of Cancer, how we want to take care of our family, our property, our home, and these things are going to come up big time in July. And then in July, it's also going to become Leo season soon, also, where the sun enters on July 20th. So we are dealing with some very volatile times, and there's a bunch of comets and other aspects that are being played into this week that has to do with dishonesty, lying to people, bringing disillusion and and a lot of things that people can't understand or see right away, because again, we're in the moon season of Cancer, in the darkness, in terms of we can't always see what people are up to. And as Mercury goes into Leo, a lot of things are going to be exposed that might surprise us. Could be personal, could be collective in the world stage. And so we have to really prepare this week to contain our safety and what we say and how we interact with each other, because it's going to become an explosive moment with Mercury and the moon. Well, as soon as Mercury enters Leo, it's going to be explosive words coming out, and your thoughts might start to be a little bit arrogant too, because of Leo. And as you can see, we've already had an assassination of political people, a husband and a wife up in Minnesota, and this person voted for Trump, and just, I'm not sure what they were upset about, besides that it's a mental illness. And that's with Mercury in Cancer when this occurred, being overprotective of their land, being overprotective of things to the point of where they had to murder someone. And so when you get to this point where you're murdering someone, that's when you know if you're murdering someone over political ideologies that are freedom in America to be able to think what you want, say what you want. This is when we're returning back to that age of authoritarianism where England used to rule over America, and you couldn't do what you want. You didn't have the right to vote because you weren't allowed, because you weren't, you were a peasant compared to the royalty of England. And we can see that occurring still. They still rule over a bunch of colonies. So colonization has not ended. There's still a lot of colonies that can't be who they are. And we can see it really happening in the war against Gaza, and now against Lebanon, and now against Iran. And there's really no right side in terms of the genocide part that Israel's committing on Gaza. That part is just wrong. I understand they were attacked, they were protecting themselves, but this is when you overprotect, and this is what we're talking about in Cancer and Jupiter being there with the sun. This is that overprotection, and really it's disguised as protection of their own sovereignty, but they have also been secretly, not really covered in the world, been taking land from the people of Gaza and that whole area. And now they're trying to take land from Lebanon, and I think they must want land in Iran, because Iran has a lot of oil. A lot of Middle Eastern countries have oil. So again, it goes back to this caveman mentality, the lizard brain of surviving. And Pluto and Aquarius is coming in to say those days are done. We don't need that anymore. We're now mostly civilized, and in order to continue living on Earth that we're continually harming with all these energies that we use, like atomic energy, and secretly testing atomic energy in the ocean is really causing a lot of these seismic activities. And the more bombs we drop on people, that's also causing seismic activity. And the more energy we use for our spaceships, for airplanes, for cars, all these things are causing harm to the Earth, our planet that we live on, our home. So if we could use the sun in Cancer with Jupiter to really protect the Earth, our collective home, that would be a good way to use this energy, instead of protecting what you think is yours, but it's really not. The Earth belongs to all of us. Back in the day, the people were nomads. We're all nomads. We've all moved around. We've all immigrated to different places. And so to think that you had a right to say this isn't your land, this is my land, really isn't the truth. No one really owns the land. It's Mother Earth. The animals, you know, they don't try to keep us away from what we want, and we've murdered many, and animals have become extinct now to where we have places where we're trying to make sure these animals will become extinct. And so now they're trying to make people extinct again, certain tribes, certain people. So I hope that you can understand what I'm saying, and I hope you will try to help Mother Earth by planting some trees, not just cutting down trees, not cutting grass, because cutting grass also is not good, because you're taking away food for animals, because cows should really be eating grass because they're grass eaters. They're not corn eaters. Hay is dried grass, which is good, but eating oats or corn is not what cows are supposed to eat, and that is causing a lot of the CO2 also. And we can see a lot of birds are dying now with flu, and we don't really know what. So we've really put ourselves into a bind, and unless you see it for yourself, because now it's global, it's almost like you can't not see. You can't close your eyes and pretend it's not happening. Is the only way that a lot of people will believe what's happening without saying, oh, you're just saying those things. That's not true. That's not going to happen. People won't do that. Oh, we'll never drop another nuclear bomb on another person, another country. A lot of people can't understand it unless they see it with their eyes. So Neptune, again in Aries, is bringing the vision. And Saturn is helping us to construct the vision, to bring it to reality, as Pluto in Aquarius is helping us to understand it's a time of change. It's time for air. And so with that occurring, the air is also causing a lot of tornadoes. The storms are really coming in quickly with the wind. And if you have a lot of wind, you're going to have a lot of destruction. No one can survive a 200-mile-per-hour wind. No one can survive a 200-foot-high wave coming in off of the ocean from an earthquake occurring deep underneath the ocean where Mother Earth is in pain. So these are things we really have to consider. And astrology shows us through the future charts that we can look at for the year 2050, let's say, we can see that if we don't get it together within the next 10 years, that no one will be here to live. Even if you go up to Mars, you're not going to survive up on Mars either, because you don't understand how to grow food. You don't know, and you're getting rid of all these important scientists that can help us, and you're doing all these things that, you know, hurting colleges where you can learn about how to help build the world to be a better place. So if we want to be stuck in ignorance, then there is no chance for the human to survive. And we'll end up like the pyramid, the people that built the pyramids. Someday people will come, the people that do survive, maybe 10,000 people will someday try to figure out, well, how did they do that? How did they ever build an airplane? How did they have a submarine? It will all start over again, because the earth is in its cycle of renewal, which it does every 10, 20,000 years. So these are not doom and gloom. It's supposed to really help you to understand that unless you understand, unless you can see it, which now you can see it, start thinking about the future for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren that have had the privilege of living here on Earth for a couple of thousand years now, all the way maybe 5,000 years now, where we went through the age of Aries and went through the age of Neptune. So that's going to be it for today. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and happy summer solstice, the longest day of the year. Happy new moon in Cancer. Plant something, plant a seed, write it down, make a wish, because it's going to be powerful with Jupiter here. It's going to be a very, very blessed new moon. And I will be back next week as we begin to enter July, and I will talk more about the predictions for July. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you to all my spiritual children. Congratulations on all your accomplishments this week. I've seen some of you doing really great things, graduating and all those things. I appreciate you, and I will be back next week. Okay, thank you. See you later. Bye.